Hey, he's working. Yeah, proof that he actually does work. And there's a little button there. Different sound effects. And if you listen, it's like a surreptitiously recorded spy recording thing. Anyways, a few sounds. So proof that Pepe, the probe droid, works. Hello and welcome back to my shop for the 10th episode of Live in the Shop. Behold, my stuff. A little bit of scourge there to kick things off. Put this guy over there. So, it's been a good run. Hello, Jedi Temple Guard. I see people are already tuning in and commenting. Yeah, some of you know this is going to be the last one weekly. I will still do this periodically when something interesting occurs to me or something interesting happens in the world of Star Wars, sci-fi, prop stuff. So, it's so fun. And it's been a great way to interact with everybody. So we will be doing this more. We will be doing this more, just not on a weekly basis. I got work I need to do. So yeah, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you found us on YouTube, us. Wow, it's just growing bigger. I mean, I'm the only one here, but I keep saying the royal we, us. That includes you, viewer, GCS Nation. We're in this together. So yeah, if you've already found me on YouTube, you can go ahead and type into the box in the corner or whatever, and your comments and questions will come up on my screen. Please keep them brief and concise. Hello, Master Stoddard on TCSS forums. Hello, I'm jealous forever of that workshop. Yes, I am seeing these comments coming up, and I'll do my best to keep going. Gonk counts, so it's a we. Yes, Jedi Temple Guard. G, my guy here. There used to be a button in there. Now there's just a USB I can plug in my phone and charge them up. But yeah, me and Gonk holding down the fort. As well today, if any comments or questions come up that I don't know the answer for, like for instance, are you planning new designs for your... You kept it concise, but I don't know where to go with that. So I'm going to ask my fictional mentor, Cave Johnson, who's joining us in the shop today. I don't know if you can hear words of wisdom. Please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have to bring Cave Johnson closer to the phone. But if you can hear his words, hello from Switzerland. If you can hear those words of wisdom from my fictional mentor, Cave Johnson, who hangs in the shop and I listen to him daily, then please let me know if you can hear Cave Johnson, because I think that's going to be one of the ways that we're going to have a lot of fun today. And we're going to have fun today. I assure you this is water. Stay hydrated, GCS Nation. From time to time, you may also hear the sound of a dump truck going through my back alley. There's some work going on. Hi from the UK. Wow, international. I'm glad you guys could all join us. Couldn't make him out. Thank you. So I know the next time we play Cave Johnson, I'll bring him in a little closer. I've also got the training room firing away. Did something this week that I'd like to share with you. Hello from Wales. Hello from Sydney, Australia. Wow, I love the international flavor today on volume 10 of Live in the Shop. I started a journey that I've done several times, but it's like going back to familiar places. Vector Prime. It's the first novel in the new Jedi Order series. And if you're not familiar with the Star Wars Expanded Universe, hey, another Canadian. Yeah. If you're not familiar with the Star Wars Expanded Universe, and you've been in any way, or even if you haven't been in any way disillusioned with the recent films, I would encourage you to pick up the Thrawn trilogy. Best idea is to start there. The events happening after Return of the Jedi with Luke and Han and Leia and others. There's these great timelines in these books. So you pick up a Star Wars Expanded Universe, or now it's called Legends. I don't know if anybody can confirm. All my books are old before they labeled them Legends. Are any of the Legends books of this vintage, do they have the timeline still? I hope that they do, because what you do is you read the Thrawn trilogy, and then, for instance, the new Jedi Order series, you figure out where that happens, and there might be some books like the X-Wing series that you want to read in between. You get to know some of the characters. So it's like 20 some books chronicling this epic invasion from outside the galaxy. Some of the books are meh. Most of them are awesome. And you really find the characters Han, Leia, Mara Jade, Corran Horn, Talon Card. All these people are just very, very believable. And they introduce new characters, of course, as well. Jaina and Jason Solo, the twins, and Anakin. He read Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9 Duel of the Fates script. No, I have not. There's a lot of stuff I haven't read that I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with that book. I have a whole new collection of new Jedi Order books. Yeah, awesome. Me too. I think I got a lot of them I got from a used bookstore. Go down to a used bookstore when you can go to a used bookstore and pick these up. So read along with me. Read along the new Order series with me, starting at Vector Prime. There's some events early on that will rock you to your core. If you no spoilers, even though these books have been out for like 20 years. But what do you want to talk about? That was one thing I wanted to mention, just because it's kind of I feel like I've done something epic by starting this journey again. I read I, Jedi as I was wearing the horn sabers, of course. And then when I was done, I thought, well, do I start this epic long quest? Summer reading? Yes. The answer was yes. And it'll be the first time I think I've watched all of the new Disney era films. Speaking of Corran Horn, I really like your saber design. I tried to model it so I could 3D print it. Don't rip me off. Intellectual property. Hi, Rob. I'm aware that you don't officially sell hilts based on the films because of obvious reasons, but see, I couldn't read the rest of that before it faded away. You got to keep your questions concise. A backdoor way to sell them, such as selling a dummy hilt with a message. The main reason I don't sell replica hilts is not so that I won't ever get sued. That is a reason. And it's also not so that I have a black mark on me in case I ever get an opportunity to work for Lucasfilm, which is also a reason, but a bucket list way in the background reason. The main reason that I don't do replica sabers from the hilts or from the games or video games, movies, things like that, is because I love designing. If I'm doing a replica hilt, I'm just reproducing. And while I'm capable of doing that, I could reproduce a hilt, I could engineer it, make it work. There's no joy in that for me. The joy for me is creating something. If I was a Jedi, is inserting my art into the story, the scope, the universe of Star Wars, and creating something new. So the Corran Horn saber is not a replica, it's my design. The Bane saber is not a replica, it's my design. There's been some conversation about that recently. I know some people have seen images of my Bane saber popping up in posters and sculptures and video games. I think the Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, there's a fan-made add-on patch where somebody modeled my saber and added it in without my permission. So please don't do that. If you want to use a saber or a design that's done by an artist, please seek them out, ask them, hey, can I have your permission to do this? They'll probably tell you, like what I usually tell people, I allow people to use my designs if they're doing their own personal replica, like we all do with the films for your own personal use. But if you intend to sell it, to make money in any way, to put things up on the internet, that expand your career or prestige by this, hey, look what I did, this poster or this video game, please don't do that without a written agreement from the artist. Sometimes you have to work out a licensing arrangement where you're licensed to use that design for compensation, same way we do with Star Wars designs. You can't just go printing off Star Wars t-shirts, they'll shut you down unless you have a license. So yeah, long story. Love my Jedi holocron. I got some time ago now. Excellent. I'm glad you love your Jedi holocron. I was never really thrilled with them, which is why I don't make them anymore. They're just a kind of big heavy hunk of glass. They're not elegant like the Sith one that I have yet to figure out a really elegant Jedi holocron that I'm happy with. But it is a way back burner thing in my mind. If my mind it's got tiers of burners. And back burner is kind of like a stove, right? You got your back burner, something that you put there that you don't want to work on immediately. Is keep it warm for later. Well, I think I've got like 18 levels of back burner that go back. Some of them, I haven't been there in years. Some of those back burners. What's your favorite force power? Interesting question, Limey Walnut 94. What is my favorite force power? Let me ponder that. Let's ask Cave Johnson, because I don't know. I don't have an immediate answer to that.
I like your style. You make up your own rules, just like me.
Yeah, great words from Cave Johnson. In this instance, I'll ponder favorite force power. I don't really know. I mean, I really enjoyed back in the Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy days, picking someone up and just kind of chucking them off a cliff. So you're running through a level and you're just, instead of engaging every combatant, checking one off a cliff, fight the next guy. It's kind of cool, but I'm sure I can come up with a little bit of my brushing against the dark side, giggling as I'm throwing someone off a cliff and they're like, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You played that game, you threw people off a cliff. Yeah, very cool. Actually fell off a cliff once. It wasn't very big. Long story. Survived. I'm good. But yes, personal anecdotes. I get to just regale you with personal anecdotes. How's the fridge coming along? Haven't worked on it in a couple of weeks. I got a word from my friend Shannon, who's got the laser cutter, that he's hopefully this week going to be able to start to work on some of my parts that I've asked for. But I have the design, I have the concept. I just need the execution. But I've got some time, July 1st. Brian, I don't know if you're watching. I don't know how you're doing on yours. I know you've been pretty busy. And Josh, I don't know how you're doing on yours either. Josh usually comes up with something really out of the box. So I'm really interested to see what Josh is gonna come up with. It'd be really funny if there's this whole idea of people copying and stealing ideas, but every once in a while, I think it's called something in a vacuum. There's a term for this, where two people come up with the same idea and they had absolutely no connection, and it's not based on anything similar. It's just randomly they came up with the same good idea. Yeah, I missed another question there. Sorry. It sounds about level. I just figured garbage to mine. I don't know. Exclude garbage to mine. Okay. I don't know if that's your fridge. I could have missed the first part of that. Make machining one-off hilts affordable? The short answer is I don't. I only work on prototypes because when you're doing one-off machining, it takes forever. And if you're doing one-off CNC machining, which I don't do here, you're going to pay thousands of dollars for one single item. The whole idea of CNC machining is you don't get one, you get 1,000, and then that breaks the price down. Parallel thinking, is that the name of that? Hello, Jay Ellis Wood, I see you. Lots of people tuning in today. So I want to know what you guys want to talk about, but I also want to throw out some stuff. Question I saw on Twitter got me thinking today. The Mandalorian. Interesting Saber stand holders if you'd like to show off need some inspiration. I'm not sure. Where do you send prototype to get produced? The long answer to that, you got to find a machine shop to work with. That's kind of what you need to do, or someone that can CAD model it. The Mandalorian, by the creed, doesn't take off his helmet, because then he's no longer a Mandalorian. Yet we don't see that in Rebels, the Clone Wars, anything else. So the question was posed on Twitter. Okay, what happened there? Is this something happened in the course of the battle with the Empire, that missing time period which we have yet to fill in, that now the Mandalorians are all like this, or as I like to think, kind of like religion. Sometimes you have branches that are more extreme than others. This particular creed of Mandalorian don't take off their helmet. That's kind of where I lean. It's going to be like kind of like a sect, an extremist sect maybe of Mandalorians, or perhaps does this only apply to foundlings and not born Mandalorian? Don't know. Man, lots of questions coming in. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Mandalorian helmet taking off thing. Do you get Tim to modify TCS parts for you? No, I have my machines. I do my own, Logan. So when I modify TCS parts, usually I'll do my own. Sometimes I ask for a particular part. The original corn horn was a diamond knurled section that I asked for, that Tim did for me in the custom work section from Custom Saber Shop. Apologize again, I missed a lot of questions. If you ask a question and I completely miss it, feel free to ask it again. Again, keep it concise, and I'll do my best to address your stuff. But I'm really interested to see what you guys think about the whole Mandalorian not taking his helmet thing off. Bo-Katan, helmet off. Sabine Wren, helmet off, no problem. Quick rundown on etching. Ooh, there is no quick rundown on etching. It's a Google it. There's lots of great tips and tricks out there. My quick rundown on etching is safety, gloves, mask, whatever you need for the chemicals that you're using, and experiment. I mean, you're going to need to purchase chemicals. You're going to need to have a space to work in, well-ventilated space. You're going to need, but really, water, masking materials, PNP blue is a good one. Just experiment. Just go out there, find some YouTube tutorials on etching. I think Cal did one. And give her. That's a Canadian thing. Give it a try. Any new updated Fulcrum since the last video? No, I have had no time to work on Fulcrum, so nothing new coming there. Quick rundown on bone saber parts. Again, you got to do it the hard way. I'm not going to spoon feed people. I'm not going to tell them, oh, here's how I do it. I do that with some things, but then other things I keep to make my stuff special, like my Bane sabers. So my bone technique involves how many steps to get it from what I get to what I finish with that looks and feels like bone. So you got to experiment, find your own steps, take notes, what you like, what you don't like. When you experiment and fail, you learn. Because sometimes when I'm experimenting and I horribly screw up something that I'm working on, it actually leads to an idea completely unrelated that I'll run with later and create a new idea, new innovation. Do you have plans to create a new design commercial run of your sabers? I don't know if I'm understanding your question correctly, but my speeder design is going to hopefully next year be a new production series saber. I will try to add a design every few years. I don't try to rattle off a new design every month just because I'm alone working here. I'd have to stop doing everything else in order to just design, which would be fun. But get my pickup wire from a local electronics shop in Calgary, not far away. I usually go there once every 2 months. And I use most commonly 28 gauge for things that don't require a lot of power. And for the heavier stuff, NeoPixel power lines and things like that, I run 26 gauge that I double up. So the two most common gauges I use are 24 gauge. 24 gauge that I double up. So the two most common gauges are 28 gauge, really thin stuff. It's nice and thin, and 24 gauge. I also, in some applications, use old computer ribbon wire that I've stripped if I need to run a small version of like 4 wiring together to an OLED screen or a crystal chamber or something like that. So cannibalizing old ribbon wire from computers sometimes can be helpful. Are you ever going to do another video on the blasters behind you? Thanks for that question. I didn't see who it was. Yeah, those are mostly Nerf blasters with the exception of the DL44. It's just kind of like a side I do, other props. A part of that too is with playing with my boys. They're out of an age where we're having Nerf gun fights and whatever. So when they get into Nerf guns, usually I'll find some free one online somewhere, or got a local thing called Virage Sale. I don't know if you know about that, where you kind of look for things. When people in your community can sell them. It's like a classified ads. Sometimes I find cheap or broken Nerf guns that I just will buy and then paint up just to make a prop from, if I think they're a really cool shape or whatever. So I've got a few of those stashed away, but I don't anticipate doing any more videos or any more work on those currently. You kind of got to go with whatever is capturing your imagination at the time. So I don't know about you, if you're an artist. For me, I take swings. So there'll be a season for maybe a year and a half where I'll be really into doctoring up Nerf guns. And then I won't do it for 3 years, work on other things. What's your favorite cannon hilt? I get asked this every video. I don't know, Cave Johnson, what's your favorite cannon hilt?
The lab boys just informed me that I should not have mentioned the control group. They're telling me I ought to stop making these pre-recorded messages. That gave me an idea. Make more pre-recorded messages. I pay the bills here, I can talk about the control group all day.
I love Cave Johnson. Your cannon hilt changes all the time. Usually Qui-Gon and Dooku are up there. But as an artist and as a designer, I kind of think, which favorite hilt to work on. I like the Ascend in that it's a really elegant design, but it's got a lot of possibilities for modification, a lot of spaces that I can etch, and a lot of things I can machine down and add like a shroud to it or whatever. So it's been the most versatile one for me to create with, as like almost like a palette, Saber to start with, and then build on and work with. So I would say the Ascend. But these are great questions, and again, I've missed a few. So fire, you got them. Nobody's commenting on the Mandalorian helmet thing. Nobody cares. Nobody's got an idea. Something about CFX settings. I don't. That's a long question. Something about cube rings. I didn't see that either. Again, if you're going to ask, please try to make it concise. So, for instance, if you're asking about cube rings, I need to know what you're talking about. For instance, if it's the pommel that's sold at TCSS that looks like the Obi-Wan pommel, have you picked up a Dooku hilt from any of the recent runs? No, the only Dooku hilt I had was a Master Replicas one back in the day that I did a conversion on. Big heavy chunk of cast metal that was chromed. I haven't got any of the newer ones. I think Corbanth has done one. I don't know if someone else did one. Way back in the day when I was part of a kind of a group of accomplished sabersmiths, we had kind of combined our brain power to try to develop a Dooku design, but that kind of went south and never got off the ground years ago. That was a long time ago. Do you miss the forum days? Those were those forum guys. Yes, for a couple of reasons. I mean, relationships is one. Right now, there are so many people that are in the Saber hobby and industry that it's just a large pool of people. And I'm the type of person that I like fewer relationships that run deeper, rather than lots of relationships that aren't very deep at all. So back in the forum days, there was maybe 20 or 30 people, and we were all pretty close and commenting on each stuff and became friends. Some of them we've met in person. Nowadays, it's just thousands of people on a Facebook page. It's just not the same as the forum days. But I don't think the forums are coming back anytime soon. I just don't do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and forums, and still actually make things and ship them. So someone asked forum days? Yeah. So back in the day, I was doing this on my own, totally isolated, building sabers as a hobby, finding things on the internet. And then in 2004, I got invited to join the Custom Saber Shop forum. Because they were just formed, they had a forum, started meeting people, interacting, sharing ideas, and that started a decade of time when basically the interaction of the hobby was on the forums. And you can look them up, fxsabers.com. The Custom Saber Shop's got a forum. You can go there, ask questions, interact with people. So they are still functional, and some people really enjoy that. I just don't have the time to do it a lot. They're still happening, but not as prevalent. Yeah. Yes, Max, you are correct. So yeah. Again, nobody wants to talk about the Mandalorian, so I'll let it go. Or will I? Kind of fan of the David Letterman school of beating the dead horse. You know how this goes? For David Letterman, it was you tell a bad joke and you just keep telling it, and eventually it just becomes funny because you find a way to drag the bad joke into everything. He was a genius at that. Hello, Michael, just tuning in. I don't know if you've missed very much. Cave Johnson's a little ornery, but Oprah Uma, yeah. See, although it didn't really fly with people that weren't familiar with the David Letterman shtick. I don't think that went very well. It was the Academy Awards or whatever. I say different clans, different codes, laws to live by. Okay, so Logan's commenting on the Mandalorian thing. Different clans, different codes. Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be a clan thing. They've introduced a whole of a signet, and they've referred to Din Djarin of the Mandalorian as a clan of two, implying that the signet was this, ascension, a rite of passage from a foundling to a clan member of the Mandalorian culture. I guess we're going to get some more on that. I don't know. Hockey team, Calgary Flames. I've been a Calgary Flames fan since, probably 1981-ish, maybe 1982, when I saw Tim Hunter beating the stuffing out of Mike Kruzhelnicki on the Edmonton Oilers. And I thought, that's my team. And sure enough, as a kid, my family moved to a place near Calgary, and I've been cheering for them ever since. I like the Flyers, the old school Flyers, like the Rick Tocchet days, the Broad Street Bullies, the 80s. I'm a fan of violent hockey. What we have now today is a little more figure skating, not as entertaining. You're so Canadian. Thank you, Edwa 70 whatever. Thank you, Edwa 72. I am Canadian, and I'm proud of it. So there's that. I don't know what to do with that. Penguins. Okay, so everybody's sounding off on your team. Go ahead. We'll have like 1 minute where you just go fire off about your favorite team. If they're a good team, Al McInnes, somebody remembers. If they're a good team, they're probably entirely staffed by people the roster is mostly Canadian. So until I think it was Zdeno Chara of the Boston Bruins was the first non-Canadian captain of a Stanley Cup winning team. For 100 years, the captain of the Stanley Cup winning team had always been a Canadian. I don't know that that's an actual stat, but I looked it up once and I tried to find an exception, and I think they're all Canadian. Someone can correct me on that. Feel free to correct me. If it makes you feel better, give it. How do you think Boba Fett will play the Mandalorian? Well, I'm glad you asked, Jake. My theory is, now I know there's been a lot of talk about Timothy Olyphant playing, I don't know what his Jodo, whatever, no, what's his name? Jodo cast? The guy in Tatooine that's kind of like a self-titled sheriff that found Boba Fett's armor. I think Timothy Olyphant will play an excellent Thrawn, and since the last time I saw Ren and Ahsoka was when they're heading off to find Ezra and presumably Thrawn, because they hyperspaced off together. I thought Timothy Olyphant initially could be a good Thrawn, but if he plays this Jodo caster, I don't know if that's even the right name. So it seems like the prevailing opinion is there will be Boba Fett, the character, and then there will be Boba Fett's armor worn by this other guy. I don't know if that's going to clash or conflict or whatever. Heard a rumor that Kennedy is pressuring them to have Boba unmask and turn out to be a girl. I don't know. Okay, what do you want to say to that conspiracy theory?
Science isn't about why, it's about why not. Why is so much of our science dangerous? Why not bury safe science if you love it so much? In fact, why not invent a special safety door that won't hit you on the butt on the way out, because you are fired?
Cave Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, in the house. Yeah, I don't know if these conspiracy theories. Yeah, I think BS is probably apt. Yeah, no, I'm not even going to go there. No, Tamira Morrison's voice is just, I mean, it's just sometimes the beauty of art is not what is shown, but is what is unshown or what is unsaid or what is implied. Sometimes that carries more weight. So you've got this voice. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I have a feeling that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau get these subtleties about storytelling. Like I'm an expert. Like them, they should really get the subtleties of storytelling from me. So John, if you're listening, I can coach you on the subtleties of storytelling. I'm being sarcastic here. I know nothing. I have an opinion. I don't think Filoni will let it happen. Yeah. Boba has already been established to be a clone of Jango. Yes. Of course. Do you listen to Star Wars music when you build? Not really. I have. You can follow me on Spotify. I have some really eclectic old 80s Christian playlists that are pretty obscure. I can almost guarantee you that most of the stuff I play you'll never have heard of. And eclectic is cool, right? So no, not Star Wars musical I'm listening to, but I'm just trying to think if there was something that somebody posted on the Boba Fett thing. Yeah, so I don't know where they're going to go with this. I just, I would hope, I'm going to throw this out here just in case it turns out to be true, that the character who they showed only the boots of, walking up to the dead body of Fennec Shan, and you hear the clink, 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 as if of spurs, which, as someone pointed out, I think it was Nerdist, is the sound of Boba Fett's, hey Dave, how's it going? Or Devin, sorry. The clinking as of spurs is the sound of Boba Fett's armor in Empire Strikes Back, although there were no spurs. It just made that sound. Whether that was, and because it was on Tatooine when that happened, I think it's Jodo cast or whatever. It's not Cad Bane, someone posted that. No, you have to read the book, the Aftermath book. It's in there. Aftermath series, there's 3 books, I think. So whoever that guy is, he's the guy walking up to Fennec Shan. Is she dead? We don't know. I would love to see Boba Fett come out of the shadows to reclaim his armor. or to basically, or he's a shattered man that, basically, the Mandalorian finds and gleans some gems of information from. I don't know where they're going to go with that, but I think they would shoot themselves in the foot if Boba Fett wasn't really cool. I think they can avoid the backlash of what they did with Luke Skywalker's character in The Last Jedi. Nobody wants to see their hero tanked and diminished and not rise. Like Luke Skywalker was a waste of space for the whole movie until the very end in his altruistic ending, but that still wasn't enough for fans of Luke Skywalker. I think they did a disservice to the character, basing that on a comparison with Luke Skywalker in the expanded universe, who is the apex Jedi for generations. I think they've learned from that, and they're not going to do that with. Jodocast was in that Masters of the Terracassi PlayStation 1 fighting game. Okay, maybe that's not what I'm talking about then. I don't know. I don't remember the guy's name, but someone's going to have read the book, and whoever that guy is on Tatooine, who's the sheriff who finds the Boba Fett's armor in a Jawa garage sale. So I don't think they're going to do with Boba Fett what they did with Luke Skywalker. They've learned their lesson. They're going to leave fans of Boba Fett, and there are millions satisfied. I believe. I have faith. Favorite character was Luke. He looked like Boba Fett. Yep. So we'll see where that goes. It may be just a passing reference, but when you've got someone like Taika Waititi and the doors open to Din Djarin's hiding from the droids and the guitar salute and the slow motion Mandalorian with Boba Fett's style armor reaches down in the Death Watch patch. Those moments make me think, these people can do Boba Fett right. Do you use TCSS NeoPixel adapters? Yes, I do. They're Pixel adapters. And do you modify them? No, I don't. I use the Plector Pixel adapters sold at TCSS in my Sabers. I have my own holder that they pop into or screw into depending on the Saber. For the Vector, I use one of the TCSS adapters. So yes, I use those. I use those pins. They're excellent. Love them. Space for the resistor. I really just hope that the newer movies don't have influence from the Marvel movies as a sequel trilogy. I don't know that I saw a whole lot of influence from the Marvel movies per se. I just think it's a cultural change. What the culture or what movie executives the culture wants is what they produce. And for me, I'm old enough that I'm like, all this new stuff that doesn't have to be this flashy. I want a better story. I want richer characters. I want to slow the pace down a little bit so the moments of the movie stand out more. But that's just not what they think people want, or maybe it's not what people want. I was completely shocked when I found out that, what's that show? The show is Simon Cowell and the people singing American Idol. About 10 years, 20 years ago, I found out that was actually, people actually watched that. I'm like, really? Right? I was totally shocked. I was totally shocked when people on my thought that it was more exciting to see Ahsoka in Mandalorian than Boba Fett. I'm like, I don't get it. But, hey, we live in a free world, mostly, partially, I shouldn't say mostly, partially free world, and people have a right to their opinion. Don't get me started on politics. Don't go there. I have explicit instructions from my wife not to go there. What's the last Saber idea you sketched? I'd have to go check my notebook. I can't answer that. If they would just make the EU canon. Yeah, that ship has sailed. That's not going to happen. The Star Wars, and I understand that. When Disney bought Lucasfilm and there's expanded universe, one of the first things they did was to label it as Legends. And basically, they needed to give their new storytellers a blank slate to run with. And they couldn't do that if they said, okay, listen, you got to read these 140 books and basically understand all the nuances of, I wish they had done, they have people like Pablo Hidalgo who've read probably every one of those books and know that according to the expanded universe, you cannot communicate in hyperspace. And it doesn't just take you a few moments to go from one end of the galaxy to the other. There's actually several days of travel involved even in hyperspace, and they could have brought that in. It would have been cool. Exactly. Too much in the EU. But you get people like Michael Stackpole, who's not only an excellent author, he understands the nuances of things like starfighter combat, and there are nuances to like the etheric rudder and the different pros and cons of the different starships and their inability to function in atmosphere, and little nuances that they basically have this wonderful pool of data that they could have built on with the new films. But instead, they have Han Solo and Chewie blasting into hyperspace while still in a docking bay or still in a planet's gravity. I mean, used to be you couldn't do that. It was a gravity well. They changed the lightsaber crystals from Sith manufactured red crystal that was born out of a ritual trial that almost killed the apprentice, and all of a sudden now it's kyber crystal. You take a nice glowy blue or green one and you bleed it with death or something and make it into a Sith. They changed it, right? So it is what it is. I'm not gonna cry much. I've recently seen several sabers posted as approved reproductions of some work of your designs. Can you talk about that? Excellent question. Thank you. I did mention this earlier. When someone contacts me and says, "Can I reproduce your saber?" First thing I always say is thank you for actually reaching out and contacting and not going their own way, doing what they want. Reaching out to the artist is always a good thing. The second thing I say is I generally have a rule. If you're doing this as a fan for your own collection, fine. We all do that with Star Wars props. I have some in the background, binoculars, the training remote. We reproduce a prop for our own use. But if this in any way is for a profession or income or anything that could generate income, if you're going to sell it, if you're going to make copies and sell it, if you're going to use it in a video game or in a poster or something, then you need to have a written agreement with me where we've made an arrangement, you've paid a licensing fee or something that has given you written permission to use my design within certain restrictions. That's very common in the industry. So in all industries of art and intellectual property. So when people say they've got, sometimes people misunderstand and they forget the conversation. That's why I like to have everything in writing in an email chain. But generally when people are saying, yeah, I have Rob's permission to make this saber, hopefully that's what they mean, is that I gave them permission to kind of make their own, show it up. Hey, here's my corn horn, here's my Bane saber, whatever. Not for sale, just for them. Hope that answers your question. It's an excellent question. Much ripping off of artists' property out there. Ever make a probe droid inspired saber? No, Logan, I have not. I don't know that would be a real saber idea, but I kind of have a bucket thing to make a full size probe droid. Thoughts on how you'd approach a Last Airbender saber? Never actually saw Last Airbender. You're welcome, Eric. Have you made a Stormtrooper saber? Again, no. That's been done before. It's not really something that captures, like I said, something has to capture my imagination. If I ever have some property, I kind of like to have like a silo buried in the ground and a full-size Viper Pro droid, like this guy here. That cables that could come up out of the ground and have like security cameras on it. And when people come in, no way in winter, which is like 7 months of the year up here, you have this really cool Hoth scene of a probe droid rising up. Are you a fan of the more organic saber design seen in Legends? When you say seen in Legends, I'm assuming you're referring to comics, because the novels don't have any art that corresponds with them, except rarely on a cover, and the cover is always awful. There have been a bunch of books that have been done with artwork from the Expanded Universe. Chris Travass is probably one of the, if not the only artist who pays attention to lightsaber detail. So in the Expanded Universe, he's got the E2 hilt on his belt. He's done his homework. He knows what that is. A lot of people just cobble together a lightsaber for a painting. So when you say organic ones, I'm thinking the Crate Tooth or the Rancor Tooth one from Tenel Ka, and some of the other ones, Darth Crate. I've seen some images. I don't know that the organic ones really speak to me. Lots of great questions I'm missing. I apologize. Can you recommend what MHS parts do? No, missed it. I can recommend MHS parts. They're excellent. They fit together beautifully. Pay attention to keeping the threads clean and keeping them, lubricated, very lightly lubricated, if at all. But Truth Brush is a really great tool for keeping your threads clean on MHS parts. Have other movie props inspired designs for sabers? Yes. Would you do a Yuuzhan Vong saber? No. I might do a Yuuzhan Vong crystal, like an Anakin saber. Other props inspired? Yeah, for sure. I had a paint job on one of the Nerf guns behind me that actually inspired a powder coating / paint job that I did on a Saber. But in terms of props, I don't know that there's, you know what? I have to say yes, because I'm sure that some of my imagery that I've used on Sabers has partially been inspired by other props and things. I just can't think of any off the top of my head. Someone says I have to go. Watch later. Yes, signing off. Thank you. Well, I'm not signing off, but have a great whatever you're going off to do. Hopefully it's something interesting. Again, I really do appreciate that people actually tune in and watch these things. I love your workshop and your videos. Thank you, Cody. Any plans on expanding the MHS2 line? You'd have to ask Tim at Custom Saber Shop. I do not work at Custom Saber Shop, so I don't know if his plans are to expand the MHS2 line. They're cool though. MHS2 players are the MHS V2 parts are smaller. So with the MHS V2 parts, you get something a little bit more in line of what you'd be getting from a Vader's Vault, a little bit smaller saber. Mine are slightly larger than a Vader's Vault saber generally, but nowhere near as large as what you get from Ultra Sabers. Again, there's something for everybody out there. So, no questions, so we'll hear again from Cave Johnson. Cave, what do you think?
Congratulations. The simple fact that you're standing here with me means you've made a glorious contribution to science. As founder and CEO of Aperture Science, I thank you for your participation and hope we can count on you for another round of tests. We're not going to release this stuff into the wild until it's good and damn ready, so as long as you keep yourself in top form, there'll always be a limo waiting for you. Say goodbye, Carolyn. She is a gem.
Do I find MHS parts to be too big? Some of them. Someone else wants to move to Canada. It is awesome here. I missed a couple of questions. Somebody was asking something about MHS parts too big. So some, I don't know, too big. Depends on the saber design. Like the Speeder Saber, like the Graflex is a big saber. So the MHS parts are actually, if you build a saber MHS parts, diameter wise is going to be smaller than a Graflex. So it depends on the design and what you're going for. So yeah, some of the MHS parts have like a dip, like a radius grip section, so they're much smaller. I have big hands too, so I build things that I find are comfortable. I think it's a Bobcat going through. I don't think it's a dump truck in the back alley behind my shop. I apologize again. There's a whole bunch of questions that came in, bam, 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 and I missed a bunch of them. But I would love to answer your questions in the few minutes we have remaining before sign off and go make dinner for the boys. My wife doesn't eat hot dogs. She's gonna have something else. It's part of the plan. There's a plan. Family plan. She's got some plans, a big plan. I think she's going for a run. My wife is the winter runner if you want to follow her on Instagram. But if you're creepy, don't follow her. She's gonna be mad that I mentioned that. Hi Rob, thinking about a gonk droid. Do you have any advice? Yeah, I actually got the idea for a droid from the RPF. Someone made a costume using these totes for their kid for Halloween, and I basically modified that idea to make my gonk droid. So you can get two totes, stick them together. That's a great basis for things, and get other parts cut out and glued on. Gonk droid is a fun project. I think I did a video years ago when I was putting him together with some of the ideas. You can see kind of stuff that I did. If I had to do it again, I've learned so much in the years since about prop making and painting that I would do a different style paint scheme, much more authentic looking paint chips and weathering and things like that. But he's solid guy, Gonk, G as I call him. Good droid to have around. Royal Roy, greetings, hello. Would you ever do a vibroblade design? I don't know. I like the concept of a vibroblade. I think it's cool. I don't know. Any media blasted powder coat left? My spot on your list is coming up. Yes, I have. I still have lots of media blast powder coating for whenever your spot comes up, Logan. I have been getting to, bit by bit, the spots on the work. I have a lot of people that aren't responding to emails. So if you haven't used the same email in a couple of years, go check your junk file, check your email in case you got an email from me. Favorite comedic characters? That was a question. Favorite comedic characters from Star Wars? Well, classically, you've got 3PO and R2 having this kind of comedic relationship. But I would say probably Han. Han's like "I love you, I know" moment, and some of the other moments throughout the films. I think I think Han would be my favorite comedic character. I don't like any of the other attempts to be comedic. Jar Jar was a miss. Babu Frick was a little cutie pie, but I got nothing there. Do you ever make fancy boxes for your sabers? I have black box logo on them that I ship sabers in, but no, not fancy ones. What do you think about the Graflex? I think the Graflex is interesting because of what it is as a prop. Roger Christian compiled this idea based on a description from George Lucas. I don't know that there's any visual references, and so he took the 1940s camera flash, and started building on it. And so the Graflex to me represents the state of an art form as it was in the 1970s. So it's historical and it's interesting in terms of a functional lightsaber viewed from today's point of view. I don't like it. So to me, it's like a classic car. Is it going to go as fast as a regular production car? Is it going to have as good gas mileage? Is it going to have as good features? Well, no, but there's something beautiful about it because it's a 1969 GTO, you know? I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I feel about the Graflex today. There was a time when I loved it, thought about it a lot. I have got one that I really need to update, and I just haven't. I'm a daily live streamer on YouTube. I'd love to showcase a lightsaber you design. I would love that too, Hash. If you're looking for a donation, that's not really happening because I get that question probably once a week. Someone wants a lightsaber donated so they could highlight it for me. I don't do marketing that way, but thank you. Hope I let you play it, but concisely. Learn that from parenting. Concise, just not too many words. I know you're thinking, you not too many words. I have a lot of words as a person. I guess this is my outlet for all my words. So the rest of the evening I can just be silent. I would pay for one at a fair price. Well, we'll talk. Fire me an email and we'll see what we can do. From time to time, I have old stuff or old stock that was from a show or that's been handled or blemished or whatever. Usually I sell that stuff off on May the 4th and then I stick it in a box until the next May the 4th. You never know what you got, especially when technology changes like the Crystal Focus version 10 that changed a number of things. So we're going to wind things up pretty soon. But I hope you've had fun listening to me gab, interacting. I love hearing your thoughts. I love feeling like we're having this conversation. It's almost like I used to do the shows like the Edmonton Expo, the Calgary Expo. I don't do them anymore, but there was a great way to interact with people about the sabers. But that was much more the same 10 questions all the time. Yes, I do this for a living. Yes, you can fight with them. No, they're not replicas, and so on. This is much more interesting because I can choose some interesting questions that I may not have thought of. So yeah, any last minute questions, shots across the bow? Maybe when the Mandalorian fires up again, we'll do this again. We'll do some kind of live tweeting thing like that. So I don't know if you can read my clock in the background, but it's 4:49 here. Usually I try to blast out of here at 5 and go help with dinner, wrangle my kids, that kind of thing. Is a quad Cree brighter than a tri Cree? That is a tricky question. Usually, technically, yes. It's, in my opinion, not worth the hassle. So, my wife, I think twice before telling me pizza is good. Yeah, my wife and I have a different opinion on what is healthy. I have a line in mind, and anything under that line is unhealthy. Anything over that line is healthy, and there are varying degrees. She just draws her line in a very different place, which is great. She keeps our family healthy. Will you do a unique, unconventional custom design for someone? Jay, no. A few years ago, I stopped taking requests for custom commissions. I have some information on that on my website. I'm just not able to do my best work for everyone that wants it. And I'm blessed to have lots of people who want my work, but I'm just unable to deliver at a high caliber on the basis of requests to me. So the best I can offer is that as I have time, I'll create things that are unique every once in a while, one of a kinds, and I'll sell them, usually auction them on eBay or something like that. I've been so busy I haven't had a chance to do something like that for months. But I would like to do at least once a year. We'll see how it goes. The rest of the year goes. It's a weird year, right? How far could the alterations go on an ascend before it is too much for that custom list? We can discuss that over email. That depends on what you're looking for. Quad Cree is still not worth it with the CFX and its 4 color channels. Yeah, you know what? I would just go pixel. The reason someone would want a quad Cree conceivably is because they would want it to be brighter. And if brighter matters that much to you, go with NeoPixel, much brighter. You're sacrificing maybe some durability, but NeoPixel blows away quad Cree or tri Cree. Do you not have super chat, bro? I don't know what that means. Signing off. Thank you for sharing. Thanks, J. Clark. Thank you to everybody who's been a part of these 10 live in the shop things. I mean, that's hundreds of people that are interested to talk Star Wars and prop stuff live, and I really appreciate that. Like I said a couple of times, it matters a lot to me that I have. I don't want to have a big head here, but a fan base. People who follow my work, who like my work, who share my work, who put pictures up and say, "Hey, have you seen this?" That helps keep me going, because when you're an artist, especially with stuff on the internet, you don't have the interaction at a gallery of someone saying, "Oh, wow, this is what I like about your work," and having that interaction. You kind of just trust. You throw it out there and hope people that like it. And my style is not to produce what I think people will like. My style is to produce what I like and then hope that people like it. And it means a lot to me that you do. So again, thanks for tuning in on these live craziness in the shop video things. And like I said, we will do more, just not weekly. I need to get back to actual work, and hopefully you do too. So until next time, thanks for watching. How do I turn this thing off? There we go.